Hey everybody, it's Jake from the podcast. What you're about to hear is a preview of our bonus episode on the 1975 Arthur Penn film Night Moves, which we recorded as a tribute to the late Gene Hackman, as well as a tribute to a film that Ian and I both really enjoy, Night Moves, one of the great motion pictures out there. Check it out if you haven't. And if you like what you hear, you can go on over to patreon.com/Pod Casty For Me, where for $5 a month, you get bonus episode every other week. It fills in the little gaps between the bi-weekly Soderbergh episodes. So if you want to hear more of us, go over to patreon.com/Pod Casty For Me. Enjoy.
I think you're just covering just like the breakdown of the difficulty of finding yourself in space and like coming up with absolute terms about stuff.
Extraordinary segue into discussion of today's film, Night Moves, we're talking about. It's a 1975 film. Very important to both of us. We're, of course, talking about it because of the occasion of Gene Hackman's death. Don't want to dwell on or speculate. It seems like it may have been one of the more unspeakably tragic things I've ever heard of in my life.
You're right. No reason to dwell on it. To hear about it is to like suffer on behalf of both of them.
But we are going to talk about how much we appreciated the man's work and this film in particular. And of course, we had discussed talking about this film even prior to this happening.
The crossovers are innumerable.
Obviously shot by the inimitable Bruce Surtees.
Yep. Of many Clint Eastwood films.
Many a Clint Eastwood film. Gene Hackman, of course, a repeat collaborator of Clint Eastwood's. The film also features Susan Clark, who is in Coogan's Bluff.
I think we also have
James Woods.
Yep, yeah, James Woods, of course.
And John Crawford, who plays Tom Iverson. He is the mayor in The Enforcer.
He's also in Hogan's Heroes, which we've discussed on Pod.
Oh shit! Yeah. And Melanie Griffith's daughter is Madam Web, whose web connects us all. So basically, you can talk about like that's just a way in from any which.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Can we do just a quick general appreciation of Gene Hackman?
Oh, of course. Yes. This is a great idea.
I wanted to talk about Gene Hackman in general.
Was this where you fell in love with him? We used to text each other like Gene Hackman fits and stuff when we were in
Yes,
college.
We did. We used to fetishize his translucent raincoat from from The Conversation.
Right.
I mean, I still do. I'm doing it right now in my mind.
Can't stop me. Now you're all a part of it.
I was trying to figure out where I first got into Gene Hackman because like the first thing that I wrote that like I got praise from my peers for, I went to a writing
he went to
summer camp.
Baby Iowa Writers Workshop.
I went to the Iowa Young Writers Studio. So I'm just holding for applause for it's. I think it's still going.
Yeah.
I went to the Iowa Young Writers Studio as like between my junior and senior year of high school, and wrote a story called Gene Hackman Goes to Six Flags and Brings a Gun.
I've heard about this. Never had the pleasure of reading it.
I don't think it's good. Okay. And in fact, my sort of seminar leader gave me some tough love and was like, "There's nothing in this. Like this is."
Yep.
He literally pulled out his like flip phone and had somehow gotten onto it a very chippy MP3 of the "Where's the Beef" commercial. Yeah.
I mean, this is actually a noble role for people to step in when like a child's been treated like they're extremely intelligent because they're a better writer than many of their peers, and then you can still learn.
That's not even the case though. I think it's just that like it was like funny, but there wasn't anything to it. Was funny in the way that like it was like Mad TV is Mad TV will get a better response than like a lousy episode of The Americans or whatever. Like I'm trying to tread lightly here. Like one of the less impressive episodes of The Americans. I know you love The Americans.
Yeah, I do like.
But yeah, I was trying to figure out like why did I even care about Gene Hackman? It must have been the Royal Tenenbaums, I think. I mean, I think that's a lot of people our age's introduction to.
I mean, I was going to say
Hackman.
that certainly the thing about Gene
Better
Hackman.
ants,
One
I
of the
guess.
things I was gonna say is that he is like an all ages actor. He's in stuff that, I mean, he's in very briefly your Young Frankensteins. He's in
Yes.
Superman. If you had the type of parents or grandparents
Right.
or uncles who were showing you Superman.
I think I had seen the replacements at that point. The wildly anti-union football.
The Keanu
movie.
Reeves, yeah. What else? I enjoyed Heartbreakers a lot because of my childhood fascination with Jennifer Love Hewitt.
That's fine to have at the
Yep.
time, I think. Yeah. I am to understand that film holds up. I have not revisited it since I was 12 or whatever, but I hear that it's pretty fun.
Okay, can't say myself.
I think in some of the like retrospective series that have been playing at various repertory houses, they're programming Heartbreakers.
Weird,
because I think people have like a fondness for that film.
But then you grow up and you get like the serious Gene Hackman pack.
Right, you get Crimson Tide. I think every like 18-year-old boy.
I was gonna put that in the advanced, actually.
Oh, really? Because I was gonna say I think that's like. I'm trying to put away childish things, but I'm still a child, so like...
Interesting.
Like
I think of that as like...
submarine movie.
People think of it as like an actioner, and then actually I think it's even better than that, and they don't think you know that until later.
Get Shorty.
Yeah, Get Shorty.
Of course, incredible. Hackman playing low status in Get Shorty is really great. And then, I have slowly been accumulating a collection of every Gene Hackman film on Blu-ray. I'm not anywhere near it, but I have the package on Blu-ray. I have whatever Bat 29 is. I haven't watched it yet.
I've never heard of it.
The Gypsy Moths.
Oh, wow.
That's I believe a film about Bat 21, excuse me. It's a Vietnam movie. Okay. The Gypsy Moths is about like stunt parachutists or something like that. Like air show stuff.
Enough. Yeah.
And then you see him in Bonnie and Clyde when you finally get around to that.
Yeah. So I think when you got your Bonnie and Clyde, you got The Conversation, which I think was for me a early pinnacle of cinema. Like this is why I love film. This is why I want to learn more about film.
Right.
You get
can do
French
like
Connection.
This. Yep. French Connection 2.
Yep. You get this film, I think, is in there.
This film, Unforgiven. When you eventually get to that.
Yep.
Absolute Power. That's really advanced coursework to get to Absolute Power.
Yeah.
But I before I ever had the idea to talk about Clint Eastwood, I long played with the idea of a Gene Hack blog where I was gonna go through every Gene Hackman film, but I couldn't crack why Gene Hackman. I couldn't really figure out what exactly is, because there's, when I wrote that story, it was sort of like meme Gene Hackman. It was on the same level of
stand-in,
of a Werner Herzog or the way people talk about Herzog or Schrader or Lynch or like Family Guy did this with Adam West. A lot of people did, or Shatner. There's people who have a kind of larger than life part of aspect to themselves. But I guess I wasn't able to articulate exactly what it is about Hackman. And I think so when he died, I posted on the Pod Casty For Me Twitter feed. That's me, by the way. I'm doing that, unless Ian is accessing it.
No, that's Jake.
Without my knowledge, which he's welcome to do. It would be kind of funny. Anyway, I said no one was better at the mix of violence and vulnerability inside the 20th century American man. Gene Hackman could play every layer at once: cunning, ignorant, loving, brutal, strong, wounded, silly. A grandpa you'd hug more if he weren't so scary. My favorite actor. And I think I kind of got at what to me is so compelling about Hackman, which is that he represents sort of throughout his very long career at every age, a type of masculinity that I was at once sad that I knew I could never achieve, and also grateful that I knew I would never have to. This sort of bygone, invulnerable man who's also suffering because of his invulnerability.
Yeah, I'm gonna contradict you ever so slightly for myself, because I would add the plural there and say masculinities that he represents, because I think one of the things that makes him, I could easily call him my favorite actor as well. You got Popeye Doyle, who is like one version of broken and self-serving and like imposing his ideology on the world. I mean, we talked about it for Dirty Harry, but it's like Dirty Harry if the entire film definitely knew how bad he was.
Yeah.
And not just as like a unique character, but as this type of guy. And then you also have instances, I mean, I think you captured it wonderfully in your tweet. I hate to say that, but he's also a guy, I mean, in this film, I don't want to spoil what we're going to get into, but he is like a new type of man to me in this. He is a man who is maybe trying to figure out how to be vulnerable in a way that has never been allowed before. And this is like the first step off the edge. And
he's trying to change in a lot of these films, and whether or not he does, it depends on the movie. And he also, I remember when Burt Reynolds died, there was a Nick Pinkerton wrote a remembrance of him about how somehow from the beginning of his career he was always playing characters whose best days were behind them.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and I think
for Hackman, he gets into acting at 30 something.
Yeah, and looks like a man.
Yeah,
you know. And as I don't look like a boy, but in my head I have like boy dysphoria. Well, that's a specific. I have like age.
I understand what you mean. Yeah,
dysmorphia, or I in my mind, I think everyone sees me still as like, who's this fucking twerp, you know?
I feel like I had
look
that
very tired.
Right up until the day that, now I realize that everybody's looking at me like, oh, you're only this age, whatever you. Uh-oh.
I really, becoming a condonor has really like activated some kind of, I don't know, what's telomeres or something. And I've started like telling my younger coworkers that they need to dress more warmly for the weather.
God damn.
I'm like becoming uncle. But yeah, I think Hackman is always is the man. He's like, he is the kind of thing that I am not, because I'm a boy, you know, even though I am currently like 6.5 years younger than Harry Mosby, which is that's just deeply fucked.
I mean, even looking at this film, he's a well-lived this
road years.
Yeah.
That's it for the preview of the bonus of the bonus. That's it. So if you liked that, you can go to patreon.com/podcasty for me to hear the rest of it. We'd love to meet you on over there. We got episodes on all kinds of stuff. Night Moves, Shanghai Noon we talked about once. A Star Is Born with Nicole Veneto. What else? We did an episode on the Christmas presents that I got for Ian that are related to the show. So go to Patreon and check it out. And either way, we'll see you next week with King of the Hill.